Okay, welcome this morning. Today we're going to talk about how to do CAM lesson Lathe 3. So the focuses here is using right hand tools, grooving, and OD threading. So stick around, it should be fabulous. Okay, here's our part from Fusion. You should be able to download this through Schoology, so you have the part. Use the step file because sometimes the Fusion file is out of date in our lab. But today we're going to talk about how to do this part. The immediate thing you'll notice is external threading. So we're going to start with OD threading, or we're teaching OD threading today. So I've gone ahead and moved into manufacturing. So first step always is the setup. So we're going to click on setup. It is going to come in. Now this part is exactly 1.5 inches in diameter. We can't obviously cut an exact 1.5 inch diameter out of exactly 1.5 inch stock, so we're gonna have to go to the next size bigger, which is 2 inch. I like to start on the stock page. So we're gonna change the diameter to 2, and the length I believe is going to be a 3 or 4.5. And we are gonna offset this from the front, and we are gonna leave 20 thousandths gap. Now this is the wrong front. We want the front over here, not over there, but we'll fix that in a moment. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to the setup, and we're going to switch the front by selecting flip Z, and the Z will come over here. Now this material, I believe, is the chuck is, or the stock is 4 inches, 4.5 inches long. We want about about an inch actually in the chuck. So you can see we've offset it 0.4 from the back. We want to get this up to 3.5 because that corresponds with our G57 offset. So we're going to go ahead and make some adjustments to this back of the stock. So it looks like I need to add about 80 thou. So I'm going to go minus 0.8, negative 0.8. There we go. Oops, that's too much. What did I do wrong there? Let's get this way and go negative 0.4 minus. There we go. I think I put 800 that way. So we are now exactly at 3.5 from the front, which corresponds to one of our preset work offsets in the machine to hold on to this stock. So we're going to have 1 inch with it held in the chuck. And then we're going to hop over here to the program number. This is 26,031, and we're going to call this OP1 for lathe, or CAM lathe lesson 3. And then our work offset is going to be a number 4, which should allow the material to stick out 3.5 inches from the face of the chuck. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And now we're going to move on to our operations. Our first operation is we're going to face this, then we're going to do a rough profiling. So we're going to do those rather quickly. We've done this numerous times before. So we're going to select from our demo library the standard facing turning tool, and we're going to hit OK, and it's going to automatically put our face on. And then we're going to do an adaptive removal or rough turning. We're going to use the same tool. The only thing we're going to change is we're going to add about 150 thou on the back, so when we do our parting, we would have a flat surface to part. So from the back, we're in a negative 150 thou. Gives us some space to get that parting tool down in there, and we click OK, and you can see that it is producing this shape. Obviously the shape, the geometry of the cutter is what's affecting the ability to cut the shape we want, and it's kind of doing the best it can in this roughing cycle, which is fine. Now this part of the lesson here is to learn how to do shapes like this. Now, in order to get rid of or get this down, is we are going to use a grooving cycle, and the grooving tool will come in and remove most of this material for this. So this is one strategy. So here is a groove turning. We have to switch tools to a grooving tool, which is our tool number 2 in our tool library. And then we want to leave, we want to make an adjustment. We only want it to groove in the area where we need it. So we only need it between this taper and this taper. So our front, we're going to move to select and select that ring. And our back, we're going to move to selection and we're going to select this ring. Now it's only going to work between these two. Now we want to make a finish final pass with a right hand tool. So we are going to do stock to leave. And we're going to leave 6 thou on all surfaces. So if we go ahead and click OK, you'll see that it comes in and it does this grooving operation in order for us to do this. So one problem. Okay, so we are going to next do a rough grooving operation. So we want to remove, here it is, turning, grooving, roughing. So we want to remove the material here that was left in the first operation. So we are going to first limit the area we want to do the grooving in, because it'll try to groove the whole thing. And we want to put it here between this edge, and we're using selection and this edge to limit where the grooving goes. And then our maximum step over, we want to increase this to about 0.1. Our groover is 0.125, so we're going to not use the whole thing, and we're going to leave about 60 thousandths on the bottom, and 6 thousand on the bottom, 6,000. And this should, we need to select our tool, which is our grooving tool, which I forgot to do. And there is our grooving. So if we go ahead and simulate this, we'll see that it comes in and it's going to produce this kind of step down look. Now if we simulate this, we're going to see that it's going to go in, it's going to make the grooves, which is what we want, but then it's going to do this side-to-side cutting. Not all parting grooving tools are designed to allow the cutter to move in any direction but in X. So how would we turn that off? We would turn that off by coming over here, going to edit, and we would turn off under passes this semi-finished pass, and that will produce just a stepped look. And because we're going to come back with a right hand tool, we will be able to clean this up. So we remove most of the material, and we're now prepared to do the next few steps. But before we move away from the grooving tool, we are going to exit the simulation. We need to do a single groove over here for what's called the threading gutter. Basically, when we do the threading, we need a spot where the tool can stop and not cause any damage. So we're going to use a single groove here, and we're going to select that ring right there. And we're going to offset it from the front, and we're going to click OK, and it's going to be able to go in there and do that. We're doing this right now because we have this tool loaded up in the machine. At the time, we don't want to have extra tool changes if possible. So we have that done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch to our right hand cutter. So we are going to do a finish profile. We're going to end up doing 2 of these. But we're going to do a finish profile, and we're going to use the right hand cutter, which is this right hand facing tool. And you'll notice it kind of goes the other direction. And we are going to then limit our areas. We will only want to go from the back to this front. We don't want to go over here to where the threading occurs. So on our front, we're going to select selection, and we're going to choose this front ring. And we're going to go ahead and hit OK. Oh, and I made a mistake. I forgot to adjust the direction it goes. So from our passes, direction we can do from front to back. We are going to actually do from back to front, and click OK. And this will allow the geometry of the cutter to work a little bit to our advantage. So it's going to go in, if we simulate, it's going to come in, go down, and come out this way. And you'll notice that we nicked right here during that operation, which is something we do not want to have happen. So what we're going to do to fix that is we have to go back up here to our profile, and we are going to increase the offset off the back here to negative, let's just add 0.25. And now if we do our finishing profile, you'll notice that we didn't hit this time by adding that distance. But we've now finished turned this, and we only need to do the threading. So we're going to do another contour, but we are going to switch back to tool number 1. And we are now going to only do, by limiting our geometry, we're only going to do from the first part of it. So we are going to set the back to here and click OK. And this should cut our final pass. Now we're actually going to do this twice. We're going to do this twice because we are going to use this one as a finish pass after the threading. So our last step is to do threading. So we're going to go over here to threading, turn threading. We got to switch to our threading tool, which is our tool number 3, OD threading tool. And we are going to make sure that we are selecting the proper areas. So our threading area is going to be, select the face. It's this threading face we need to select. Now I had made a mistake, so I'm going to click OK real quick. One thing I want you to notice real quick is I forgot on the tool, this is a rounded bottom tool. We want a pointed one, so we actually need to go into the tool and edit the tool. And under inserts, where it says round, we have to make that pointed. And that's going to make it a sharp point as opposed to a rounded point when I hit accept. So that's going to help us with this. Now this is 16 threads per inch on a 1 inch diameter. So we need to actually go in here and make sure that under the, where is it? Pitch. Where does it say pitch? Under the pitch here, we have to make sure we set it to the right amount. And the easiest way is to just take 1 divided by 16. And that should, if we press enter, oops, edit, give us the proper pitch, which is 1/16 of an inch. Okay, now the one thing we have to do is you'll notice that the lines are stopping short of the end of our cycle. So we actually have to push it deeper into that threading trough. So offset from the back is going to be 0.08 or 80 thousandths, and we can click OK. And now this will lag because threading is a very quote challenging thing for the computer to simulate. But when I simulate this, we hit play, it's going to produce the threads. And what we're looking for is any red airs where it hits this wall, which is not what we're getting. Also, when you zoom in on the graphics, often there'll be problems because the drawing and the threading don't line up, and that's not really expected to have occur. So this is how we would do single point threading for a part. Now normally we would finish this part by parting it off, but because the parting tool in our tool library will not part to this depth, we're going to just leave it attached, and this is the end of this lesson. I've shown you in previous lessons how to do parting off. Now you notice we have an error, and if we hover over there, it just says, hey, by the way, I modified the lead-in this case, due to gouging with the remaining stock. So it recognized this problem over here on our, after we cleaned it up, and said, okay, I made some changes to the approach angles in order for us to still cut what you wish without hitting this stock. And I'm just warning you of that. If it's red, it won't work. Yellow is saying, hey, I saw a mistake and I corrected it, but I wanted to let you know. So that's how we do CAM lathe lesson number 3. And then from this, you should be able to do the tic-tac-toe foot, because the only difference between this and the tic-tac-toe foot is the size of the part. Good luck, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.